Hey everybody, so I want to show you something really neat that I've been building. I've shown you little parts of this in the past few videos in terms of the whisper flow voice recognition and the linkage, the MCP linkage between Obsidian and Claude. But now what I've got is I've got 53 different MCP tools available through my Claude desktop, and I want to show you kind of how this looks kind of all pulled together. And so what I'll do is I'll run through some common ways that I use this, and then I'll show you how I built it and how you can do the same. So show me all of the designs in my Canva design folder. And one thing I'll mention is this is processing is Claude seems to have really cut back on the number of queries you can make on the $20 plan. And so if you use Sonnet, let me just jump in here and approve that. If you use Sonnet, you'll run out of your capacity fairly quickly when you're doing a lot of this sort of agent work. But I found if you use Haiku, it's powerful enough to drive this quickly and well. And you can see here that it's taken my my Canva designs, which is what I use for PDF carousels in my LinkedIn posts, and it's actually grouped them by topic, which I didn't even ask for, but that's nice. And so what I want to do now is, let's say, draft an email with this list to me. And what it'll do is it'll put together a draft it knows my address, and it'll include that information. And so again, I just have to allow, because this is a different tool. And you can cut down on those approvals, but at this point I'm still being very careful about the MCP servers, and so I kind of like to see the warnings just to make sure everything is operating the way I think it is. And what I've got here is I've got the prompt logging system that I talked about in my previous video. So it says I'll draft the email, and then I can say here, go ahead and send the email to me. And it should just go through. It probably will ask for an approval here as well. Okay, allow for this chat. And it should go ahead and send that. Okay, and that looks like it's sent. And so let's hop up here to Gmail and pop it open. And there we go, Canva design highlights. So it's got the information that it pulled together, and it sent it right to me. And so then what I can do is we can go back and I can say from my Obsidian Vault, pull a list together of all the potential podcast topics based on the note in the root directory of my Obsidian Vault. And I don't know if I needed to say the root directory, but it's information I know, and so I figure I can short circuit its full search through the vault and just point it to the file. So we'll see if it finds that. And it says I found a promising file called Potential Podcast Topics. That's the one. And so this is just a running list that I keep for the conversations that I have with Sam Mackay. So here we go, and again, it went through and grouped them together. And then let's say, let's create, or actually I can just speak this. Let's create a new Google Calendar entry for next Tuesday at 7 p.m. for a podcast discussion with Sam Mackay. And it takes a little bit of time to think through this, but I don't find the delay to be problematic, and it's certainly easier than me jumping back and forth, because I can just start these going and then even do something else while it's pulling drafts together and things like that. So here it is, and it should be putting that on my calendar soon. Podcast discussion with Sam McKay. So you can see that this has tremendous applicability in terms of kind of practical tasks, and it can summarize things. It can send them. It can put them in your Dropbox or your Google Drive. It can move files around. It can really do pretty much anything. And I'll show you primarily the way I do this now is through a tool called Zapier MCP. And if we look here, what it does is it's one MCP server that has 7,000 tools attached to it. And so if we click here on Get Started, what it does is it creates a secure endpoint. And then you go and edit MCP actions, and these are all the ones I've got configured. And so if we add a new one, and let's say we want to create a new Google Sheet. And there we go, create spreadsheet. And then we can connect, and there we go. So have the AI guess a value for this field. I do like to require a preview before running the action, and then I just hit enable, and it goes through, and there should be a Google Sheet one. A Google Sheet create spreadsheet, and that's all you got to do. And so once you create the endpoint and you go to the actions, there's a third step, and what you have to do here is just they give you a snippet, and what you have to do here is, depending on which MCP client you use, so in this case Claude Desktop, and it is a short video, and then it'll show you the code snippet you have to copy in your configuration file. And that's pretty much it. And once you've got that working right, as I say, it has access to about 7,000 different automations that you can use. So that's how I've got it set up. I've got the Obsidian, and if we go back to Claude, I can show you here that what I've got 3 different MCP servers installed. I've got the Obsidian one that I showed you in the previous video, Supabase, which is a back-end database tool, and then this MCP backend, which is the link to the Zapier automations. And so that, for just three MCP servers, that's the kind of power this gives you. And so I hope you found that helpful. I hope it was maybe some food for thought about ways in which you might want to configure your own workflows. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.